To inspire someone is to influence or compel one to act, often in a positive manner. In our society, when we hear the word inspiration to describe someone, we think of one who is selfless, compassionate, and driven. Girls Inc. of Northern Alberta and Syncrude are proud to introduce you to the Women of Inspiration, a program designed to honor the amazing accomplishments and achievements put forth by the women of our community. These 12 outstanding women embody everything that is considered inspirational. They are mentors, leaders, and teachers. They give back to their communities not because they have to, but because they want to. They give other girls and women someone to look up to and someone to strive towards being. These women seek to build better, stronger communities, not only for themselves, but for the good of all.
Hi, I'm Angela Scoble. I work at Suncor Energy. I'm the Information Management Integration Specialist. I was born in Calgary, Alberta, but I grew up on the West Coast in Tsawwassen, BC. I moved back when I was in high school, and then I went to the University of Calgary, and I graduated from there in 1996 with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication Studies. And I really didn't expect to be in Fort McMurray ever. I had known people that had left Swan Hills and moved to Fort McMurray. I had gone to high school with people from Fort McMurray, and it was just honestly not somewhere I ever anticipated on arriving. So here I am 8 years later, and this is the longest place that I've ever lived. So it's great. A couple of years ago, about 3 or 4 years ago, I became involved in the Enbridge Famous 5 Speaker Series. And one of the chair of the speaker series at the time had gotten my name from an Enbridge lady who I knew through Junior Achievement, who said, "Hi, I've got this person in Fort McMurray I think you should meet." And so I met with Nelda, and I really liked what the speaker series was about. I liked that it was connecting professional women in the community with each other, as well as engaging the youth. And when Nelda left and moved to Calgary, she said, "I think you should be chair and you should take over." And so 2 years ago, that's what I did, and I'm still involved, and we're coming up for our 2015-16 series, and I'm busy looking for inspirational Canadian women to come to Fort McMurray and speak. So it's been a really interesting and unique experience, and an opportunity to spread across Canada and make additional connections with other women. I think that's been really special. I would say to the young women of Fort McMurray to get involved, to be a part of your community, to know that there's more out there than just yourself, that it's not just all about you, that there are people that need help. There's so many different ways to volunteer and be involved. I really think that a lot of young people these days, it's all internet, it's all technology, and I think that they really need to just know that there's more out there in the world that they can be a part of and that they can contribute to. And that's what I try to encourage the women that I work with, as well as the young women that come to the Famous 5 Speaker Series, that they know that there's a place for them and that there's a way for them to give back.
My name is Ana Maria Mendez Barks. I work for the Regional Recreation Corporation of Wood Buffalo. I oversee the visual arts program and the dance program. It's wonderful to interact with such a wonderful dance instructors. I oversee the art gallery. I have the opportunity to build capacity through the arts with big school visit programs, so it's a wonderful opportunity. I study fine art back in Peru, and I always was involved in arts and culture. I have the opportunity to teach in institutes and high schools and different organizations back in Peru. So when I moved to Canada, I believe this helped me a lot to incorporate in my arts and cultural programs. I believe one of the things that make me more proud is development a community space for exhibitions, be able to interact with hundreds of artists, artists that move for other areas, give the opportunity to grow together, to build group exhibitions, solo exhibitions, duo exhibitions. I had the opportunity to see these artists to grow. The Artists in Residency program is a municipal program. I was helping in connecting with some artists as a jury member, but it's a municipality program, and I'm very glad that I was part of this wonderful program, this building. And I believe in the expression, the potential to discover themselves through arts or through different experience. So just for an experience, they go and painting together as an open art studio to provide some workshops for adults or for people that never had the opportunity to explore that before. I think it's wonderful. I hear so many people say, oh, I never had the opportunity to paint or to learn how. We are very happy to provide that opportunity. I believe in follow the dreams and work really hard. And always looking what the others need or what the others believe. Is this balance in between what you can offer, what others need, that I think will be successful for anybody.
Hi, I'm Barb Henning and I'm with Layers Wellness. I'm from Edmonton, Alberta, and I lived in Edmonton for about 25 years. I grew up as a competitive swimmer. I swam with the Edmonton Canal Swim Club. And I went, after high school, I graduated and went to U of A. And I swam on the University of Alberta swim team, and that's where I met my husband, Howard Awashko, who was swimming at U of A. And then that was what kind of originally brought me up to Fort McMurray. Originally worked with the public school board in the payroll department because I had an economics degree. And after being there for a year, I decided that I didn't like working behind a desk. So Paula Hansen, who was the superintendent there at the time for human resources, suggested that maybe I go back and get my after degree in education. So I did, and I returned to Fort McMurray, and I taught school for about 7 years here in Fort McMurray. So while I taught school, I ran the Kids of Steel triathlon for 3 years in a row, member of the triathlon club. With school, I coached the volleyball teams, the basketball teams, Jump Rope for Heart. Very involved in mostly recreational activities. Getting healthy, making some changes, that it's just, you accomplish so much more if you feel good about yourself. Some people, it defines who you are, your outlook on life, what you do in life, what you can accomplish in life. You know, if you don't feel well, if you don't think you look well, it prevents you from doing a lot of things in life. And it's why I do what I do. Set yourself up with people who are going to support what you want to do. I think that's the biggest thing. Really, just make sure you surround yourself with people that are going to help support what you want to do in life. That's the big thing.
My name is Cheryl Alexander, and I am the CEO and President of C&O Consulting. I am born and raised in Fort McMurray, but I am a Mikisew Cree First Nation member. My mother was a teenage mom, and so I had my grandmother raise me, my aunts, my uncles. I had the whole community, in a sense, help raise me. And I think that really helped build who I am today because of all their characteristics and their storytelling and their teachings were able to soak into me as a sponge. And when I think about why did I go into business, it wasn't my first thought. My first thought was actually to be a teacher. So when I was in high school, I thought, oh, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be a teacher at a school. And little did I know that I was actually going to be teaching, but teaching adults. So when I finished at Keanu College, I got my diploma in business administration. But my mentor said, well, we need some role models in our communities. We need some Aboriginal women that are role models. And so I looked at what studies I should go into, and I thought, why not counseling? Because through counseling, I could take time to reflect on myself and also people who are dear to me. That really helped frame, I guess, my desire that I always had hidden inside of me was to go into business. Well, I love to be involved in the community. It's where, the whole slogan, we work, live, and play. And it's important to be involved in the community and things that you admire, things that are a high value to you. And doing that, your children get to see what's important in life, and you make them a part of it. So you give them little updates, you bring them to a volunteer event, you bring them out to when there's a bit of like a social gathering that's for families, you let them be a part of it. If I had advice for women, it's like whenever you do fall down or you make a mistake, just get back up. It's dust yourself off, it's a new day, try again. Never give up hope. Never feel like the mountain's too high to climb, because bit by bit, you're gonna get over it. So I mean, honestly, celebrate the successes, but when you do make a mistake, it's not the end of the world. And if you hit the wall, it's not the end of the world, you just get past it. And there's always an opportunity to get around that wall, or to, pick yourself up or get over that mountain. Just look for that opportunity and surround yourself with people who are like-minded, who are positive, and are willing to climb that mountain with you.
I'm Christina Travers, and I'm with Mush McMurray. I was born and raised here in Fort McMurray. So I've been living here for the last 25 years. So in 2007, I started dog sledding. I started off by helping another musher in town, and then eventually I started getting my own dogs and my own sled. And in 2011, I did my first race here in Fort McMurray, from Fort McMurray to Fort Chipewyan on the Athabasca River, and then it just grew from there. There are quite a few female mushers. A few years ago, you didn't really hear of too many, so it was kind of different being in a male-dominated sport. The biggest race I've competed in is the Yukon Quest, which is 1,000 miles across Yukon and Alaska. When you start the race, there's no one there to help you. You have to do it all by yourself. So feeding your dogs, getting through the trails, even in the checkpoints, you're not allowed to have any help. Some of the checkpoints are 100 to 200 miles apart, so you're sleeping in the woods just with the dogs, you're camping out. So I run 6 hours on, 6 hours resting, and in those 6 hours resting, the dogs are resting, but I'm preparing meals, massaging dogs, repacking my sled, and then by the time it's ready for me to rest, it's only about an hour or two if I can fall asleep. I guess one of the biggest things to try to overcome is knowing that you're completely alone. There's no one there to help you, and you gotta just suck it up and do it all by yourself, even if it's minus 40 or minus 50 with the wind chill. I would just tell younger girls or even older women, if you have a dream, if you have a passion, just go for it. Give it all you got. I mean, you only live once. There's going to be hard times, and you just got to push through it. Giving up is always the easiest route, but in the long term, is it going to make you happy? 5-10 years down the road, and you look back and say, you know what, I probably could have got through that and continued on my road. That's the way I look at it. And when I make a decision, I'm going to say, am I going to regret this in 10 years? Or am I not?
I was born in British Columbia in a tiny little town where everybody looked out for each other and surrounded by lots of friends and family, and you just always pitched in and did what needed to be done, and that's kind of how my family was raised. When I was coming to Fort McMurray, lots of folks were wondering what I was going to do up here, because I'd been very involved in the social profit sector in Edmonton and in my whole adult life, really. And for me, it was very important to find a position that afforded me the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives every day. It wasn't just about earning a big salary. It was about getting to be part of the community, meeting people, getting connected, and influencing lives. I'm really excited with United Way right now. We're packing our boxes right now, and by the time you view this little video clip, we will have been relocated to the Red Pole Centre at Shell Place on McDonald Island, where we're going to be able to support, I think there's about 16 organizations that are going to be living with us there in a social profit shared space. And we're expanding the model we currently have at the first Red Pole Centre, and being able to make a significant impact on a lot of smaller organizations. So that's very exciting. And this job, this is my 7th year, and I haven't got bored for sure yet. There's always changes happening, and it's very exciting. And when you look way down the road to retirement years, something we talk about all the time is, what does that look like, and how do we stay engaged in the community that we're living in, and how do we still make a difference in people's lives and get involved and help. So looking forward to all those next stages, but certainly not bored and ready to move on from the United Way adventure yet. I would say that you can do great things. You can make a difference in lives. You can be a strong leader, but you can do it by being positive and being kind and reaching out to others and lifting them up rather than demanding power. It's great to grow together.
Teresa Wells with the Regional Recreation Corporation of Wood Buffalo. I'm actually originally from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, spent many years in Toronto, and then ended up in Fort McMurray. It was really actually exciting to come to Fort McMurray because the town where my daughter was born was a very small community in northwestern Ontario of about 3,000 people, very remote. So coming to Fort McMurray actually felt like coming back to civilization in many ways after having lived in Toronto and Saskatoon for most of my adult life. I really began McMurray Musings because I realized that there was a narrative of life in Fort McMurray that wasn't being told. There were lots of people who were talking about the industry and the environment, but there were very few people talking about what it was like to live in the community, particularly as a woman, as a parent, as a wife, and just everyday life in the community. And I realized I had that perspective and I could tell that story, which is what I began to tell. I think a lot of the successes was the fact that I was able to tell stories that were fairly unique and that a lot of people probably weren't telling, spending time at places like the Center of Hope, for instance, and talking to some of the residents of our community who actually live on the streets, and having their permission to share some of their stories with the community was pretty astonishing to me. But I think, the reality was I started by developing the network in the community, and that actually led to the professional opportunities where a lot of people actually develop the skills first, and then they struggle to develop the networking. Through the blog, I started to develop a relationship and networks of people. And one of those relationships I developed was with the people at McDonald Island Park. When I realized they had an opening in their communications department, I applied for the job. And I think they believed in me enough, and they knew that I had a very strong association with McDonald Island Park. It had been part of our life since we moved here. They took a chance on hiring me, and I've been with them for over 2 years. I would actually tell young women to do the same thing that I always tell my daughter, which is never be afraid to follow your dreams. Don't let anyone tell you that you can't do something. Always try. Sometimes you're going to fail. Pick yourself up, try again, and be true to yourself. Really be true to what you want to do and what you want to achieve and accomplish. And that's something you actually have to learn to handle and to develop that sort of self-confidence and not worry overly about what other people think. Of course, you want to take that feedback and see where it leads you. But I think you have to develop the ability to be true to yourself and to know that as long as you're doing what feels true to you, then you're reflecting what you really want to say.
Angela Ross, Wood Buffalo Wellness Society. I was born and raised in Fort McMurray. I grew up in Thickwood. Aboriginal addictions, huge thing in our community, huge thing in our nation. It's something that really needs to be addressed and something that I was intrigued to follow. And then a addictions course came up through Nietzsche in Edmonton, and it was really intriguing, so I went. Even though I had to leave Fort McMurray to do it, it was for 12 weeks, and I went there on Sunday, and then I stayed till Friday night, and then I came back. I did that 12 times throughout the year. So I've been working for a year now with Wood Buffalo Wellness Society. Well, my current position right now is a caseworker. I'm a pretty personable person, so I think that your language and your mannerism around your clients can have a huge impact on them and their level of being comfortable around you as well and being open. And we are building and empowering people and building a better community. I feel that it's in a more humanistic and empowering these clients. I'd say to ask, always to reach out, never be shameful, or, there's no stupid question. There's a lot of services put in place that maybe we didn't have once upon a time, but our community's evolving, our services are evolving, and definitely if you don't ask, you're not going to receive the help. It's just to take that first step and to ask for help, and it can be humbling, and young girls can feel shameful because what you don't know, you don't know. So definitely to somewhere find the courage to voice something to somebody in a position that might be able to help you, whether it be a teacher, a counselor, your friend's older sister, your friend's mom, your aunt, somebody. Just step out there and ask. This knowledge is a very powerful tool.
My name is Neerja and my company name is ATG Homes, and I do construction work. Till now I have built almost 10 houses and I want to continue with this. Calgary, we were there for 5 months and I worked with SIVA, Calgary Immigrant Women Association, and there I have learnt a lot and I helped those ladies. And after some time I got job in supermarket, but I didn't like that because that was not my kind of job. It was not creative, nothing new, no planning, just stand there. So then I just changed my mind and quit that job within 2 weeks, and then we moved for McMurray. When I moved for McMurray, and then I thought I can have my own house, my dream house. So I built my house first, and because I'm a creative and energetic and I have a good planner, so I thought, okay, no problem, I can start 1 or 2 houses together. Immediately I didn't have any thought that time when I put the name ATG. So A for Akash, Akash is my son's name, T for Tulika, and she is my daughter, and G for our surname is Gupta. So ATG Homes, that means it's our family. ATG, like within 3 or 4 years, within, you can say I am well known in the community, and my houses are European style houses. I don't do like lots of fast wash, like clean, neat and clean. And everybody knows ATG Homes, although I have not built so many houses, just small builder, but yeah, everybody knows ATG Homes and me, like these people, they build good houses. And the quality is good, they pay proper attention, and everybody is happy with my product. So I can say all the women have that capacity. When you can see at home, the ladies are a good manager, they are a good nurses, they are a good cleaner, they can do everything, whatever you think is a professional way, they are doing at home. So I believe ladies have all the capabilities to do everything. Like construction is nothing, they can do whatever in the world is, like whatever they want to go in NASA or they want to go on other planets, they can do everything. So I believe in that.
I'm Flor Connors, and I'm the Executive Director of the Nistawan Friendship Center, and I have been in service to that community for over 6 years now. Originally from the Philippines, but I'm here for 21 years now, married to a guy from Newfoundland, and I have 2 beautiful children. I was helping some people who are in need. We also have some donations to the food bank. We do some help to the homeless by giving them those bottles, like empty bottles. I got involved with the Friendship Center the first time when my friend asked me to help them out with the restoration of the charitable status, making a positive change to the Friendship Center. My goal for the Friendship Center is to continue providing the services to the people and to diversify the programs that are existing right now, and for everybody to be happy and feel welcome. Right now, what I am most proud of is my continuing efforts to balance my family life and my work life, because that's kind of like a big challenge for everyone else. Oh, well, at nighttime, you have to set up quality time with the family, and the daytime, devote most of your time and efforts to your workplace. Maybe because of how I was brought up. I grew up with people around me and my parents and relatives around. We are kind of like close-knitted family, and that's how we encounter their needs, and from their needs we help each other. My message to the women is this: have courage to inspire people around you to contribute their talents and energy, to deepen their sense of community involvement, and to bring positive change to the community, and for a meaningful connection to the people we care about.
Hi, I'm Dawn Booth with Media Booth. I am from Eganville, Ontario. I started really early with writing. I was in grade 4 when I had my first article published the night before Easter, and that was actually where my passion for writing started. I studied journalism, print and broadcast journalism at Humber College in Toronto, Ontario. It was after I graduated from Humber, I found out about Fort McMurray, came up here, and it was a matter of months. I landed a job at the Fort McMurray Today. You know, I was learning so much about the industry and the people that live here. The biggest thing was, though, being in the editing position kept me in an office behind closed doors, and that's when I started volunteering. So I took upon myself to get out and volunteer, and it's there where I started to actually get a real hands-on experience of our community and how amazing it is. My oldest son was 4 months when we launched Snap with Buffalo in the community, and it was a really, really exciting time because it was just a month after we launched Snap. I got married, and we had our wedding soon, and then soon after that took place, I got pregnant with Tessa, and and then from there, I just decided to stick with Media Booth and just do my own business from home and market with clients that way, with local businesses and nonprofits. And you know, I found it's been really rewarding thus far, and I really enjoy it. It's all about balance and adjusting. If this all happened at once, I think if I had 3 kids at once, I probably wouldn't be doing anything else except managing those babes, but I made it work for me, right? There's some times where it's, you know, it's trying and there's long hours, but it's just all adjustment and then figuring out what works for me and what doesn't work for me. But my biggest advice is to be like, never, ever, ever give up on yourself. There's times where I felt like I couldn't graduate, or, you know, couldn't keep going, life got tough, and just to keep going and always believing in yourself and surrounding yourself with positive people, positive things, and positive actions. I think that's the key to happiness and you know, being successful. Being successful to me is being happy.
My name is Cheryl Goloski. I was born and raised in Fort McMurray. I got my emergency medical technician in Lac La Biche. I came back and I did a practical at the fire hall. And after that, I just applied. I thought that's what I wanted to do. Yes, I was the first female firefighter. It was about 5 years after I joined where there was 2 more paramedics hired, and yeah, and then there was just a progression of women being hired as EMTs and paramedics, and being trained as firefighters with the department. I'd like to think that I did a well enough job that they were confident to hire more women on the service, for sure. In 1996, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I had a bout of breast cancer in 1996, and another bout in 2002, and then in 2008 it had come back for a third time. So yes, I was battling breast cancer throughout my whole career as a firefighter and as a mom and a wife. Yes, I think the second time I had been diagnosed with breast cancer, I was studying for my lieutenant's exam. That would be my first promotion. And I found out I had breast cancer on Thursday. I had radical surgery on the Tuesday, got out of the hospital on the Friday, and showed up to work on the Monday to write the promotional exams. And when I walked into the training room, the guys were quite surprised as to why I had showed up. And I thought, I'm going to beat this, and I will be back to work, and I want to make sure I pursue, my promotion. Cancer had come back for a third time, and it was not good news. The cancer had metastasized to my lung and my spine, and my doctors had told me to get my affairs in order. So I took a leave of absence, understandably, from the fire department to be home with my husband and my kids and my family. And I proceeded to have treatment. I had 2 years of very extensive chemotherapy and a steady drug. My quality of health wasn't very good. And I chose to take another path along with my conventional treatment. I saw a naturopathic doctor, and he put me on a plan of exercise and clean eating. I continued with my meditation and yoga, and within 6 months I was off the chemotherapy, and I just gradually got stronger and better, and today the doctors are quite surprised at how well I'm doing, and I'm very happy.